Brought to you by ExpressCare Health and Skin Center. Get in, get out, get better.
Welcome back to Healthy Living. If you are just tuning in, we are discussing obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD. Joining me now to answer some of your questions is ExpressCare's Dr. Jitka Lom. All right, thank you, Doctor. Hello. So our first viewer asks, is OCD considered an anxiety disorder?
It is. So anxiety disorders are those ones that cause distress to the person, where the person is uncomfortable with the situation. Others can perceive that there might be a problem, and the person themselves is having issues.
Okay. Now, is OCD psychological, biological, or both?
Well, it's probably both. That's a great question. There hasn't been, one chemical identified or one gene identified that would be the culprit for OCD. Although there are some trends, there's lots of research going on, but we call this a multifactorial problem. There's a genetic component, hereditary component, and probably some environmental component also in people who develop it.
Okay. Now our next viewer asks, if the parent has OCD, what are the chances that the child will also have OCD?
It wouldn't necessarily be OCD, but in the category of anxiety disorders, the child may have one of them. So other anxiety disorders include things like generalized anxiety. Basically, the person's a worrywart; they're worried about absolutely everything. OCD is one of them. Panic disorder, phobias. These are all anxiety disorders where the person feels a high level of stress from something that's going on in the environment.
Okay, so you mentioned stress and how it pertains to OCD. So can you share with us a little bit about how stress actually affects the OCD person?
Right. Well, I guess it's like this. If a person has OCD and they're experiencing those intrusive thoughts that then cause behaviors that don't make any sense, but you have to do them, like washing your hands many times a day, or being a germaphobe, or having to call back to find out if you really did make the deposit that you thought you had made, but you just really have to keep calling and checking. All of these things are cause tremendous stress. They take up a lot of time. They take up a lot of mental space, and they irritate other people. It's very annoying to other people to have to deal with somebody who's got OCD. Education helps, but the behaviors can still be very annoying. Well, that feeds back to the person. Then other people are annoyed with them, irritated with them. It affects their school and work performance, and that increases their stress level. Well, now they've got more to deal with. It affects their sleep. Sometimes people with OCD will have extensive rituals before going to bed. Before going to sleep, they'll have to say their prayer. They'll have to do the certain, let's say rosary, or put their things away in a certain place. It can take hours to finish the ritual before you can finally go rest. So in those ways, it affects their every part of their life, or maybe even the way they eat their food. It has to be in a certain way with, exactly perfect on their plate, those type of things.
Okay. Now our next viewer asks, are there any disorders related to OCD?
Yes, the other anxiety disorders I mentioned, so generalized anxiety disorder, sometimes a person will have phobias as well. They may have a component of depression that comes in because of the, just by itself, or because of the level of stress that this puts on the person. It can impair their functioning in a lot of different ways. OCD doesn't mean the person's crazy or psychotic, or like hearing voices or seeing things that other people see. They're not crazy. They have a chemical imbalance in their mind, in their brain, which is affecting their behavior. And when that's corrected, they're perfectly normal.
All right. Now, just very quickly, where should a person go if they have OCD to be treated?
Right. Well, there's a lot of fear. People have a lot of shame and fear about these behaviors because they know they're intelligent people. They understand that this is not normal, but they can't stop themselves from doing it. So it often takes a long time before they reach out, and they may hide their behaviors and thoughts from others. But generally, they'll end up seeing either a psychologist or their family doctor, ideally a psychiatrist, because this is a disorder that's best treated with medication.
All right, thank you so much,
You're
Doc, for
welcome.
coming in. So when we return, we'll wrap up the show. Stay tuned for more healthy living.